Hello, guys, and welcome back. It's Mike, the host, the dev, the one talking. Hey, so sorry that was a bit of a cheesy intro. So what I'm doing today, let me just double check the stream. Believe I called it. One second. Adding player information signs and adding a high score best time feature. So there's a couple of things I wanted to quickly do before I jumped into that. Now, I can't remember if the last stream I told you, I tried tidying up my folder, my content drawer within Unreal. As you can see, we've got all these asset folders, and I moved my UI folder here into the first person, and it didn't move everything out of it, and it caused a big problem, and it basically kind of got rid of the widget that I had created, which was a little bit annoying, but it's, it's fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly fix that widget, because I don't have the main menu functioning at the moment because of that slight hiccup. So this is actually a good way for you guys to see how the widgets and basically the user interface works. So I'm just going to fix the main menu and the control screen, and then we're going to have an attempt at setting up the player high score and best time. So this is the main menu, and I basically, it's got an error because if I show you the blueprint for the main menu, it's under the UI. Hold on a minute. No, it's in the level blueprint. There we go. So basically, on the event play on the main menu, we're meant to draw the main menu widget. So I've actually shuffled it because here's my Photoshop. So I basically, I had it aligned on the left, and the reason for that was because I had the high score thing. But then I thought I don't like the placement of it. Like, I know a lot of games does tend to have the menus on the left hand side, but I want to have mine central. And what I'm going to do is, as we come close to wrapping up the game, we'll then carefully decorate the environment so it's kind of complements the menu screen. So we will have the left and the right side to place our high score board, and have the crow or raven and the wolfie. So anyway, I've realigned the control and the main menu to be center position. It just looks a lot nicer. So I'm going to go back into Unreal. Okay, so what I've got here, we have this is the control menu. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly move this one back. So this button, now I do actually need to change this because you'll notice we don't have an I button or a what was the other one? Actually, good. I'm going to have an inventory that I'm going to add to the game. So I need to add a button on here to say I for inventory, and then I need to have a left mouse click for pickup. So I need to add those two things in, which means I'm going to have to shuffle these items down a little bit, potentially stretch the scroll a tiny bit more, so it's got space, because you don't want the main menu button being on the top of that. Anyway, enough waffling, let's just sort out this button. So we're positioning the button just so it's over the main menu. What does that need to be? Let's do 845. There we go. And I can just shrink the end of that there. Okay, so that's the main menu button. On main menu, hold on a minute. Sorry, I need to go into the graph for this one. So what we want to do, the main menu button, that needs to be anchored right there, and that screen gets anchored right there. So when we resize, everything should still stay where it is. The canvas is 1920 1080, so that's good. And then if I just go into the graph, okay, so that's the control menu. So basically, when main menu is clicked, we remove the control widget, and then we draw the other one. So what I need to do here, I just need, right, so basically, like I say, when I shuffled some files, and I didn't do this on my local hard drive, I did it within Unreal, and it was a bit of a bugger, to be honest. So I'm going to copy this blueprint, and I'm going to rename this MM for main menu. We're going to double click that, and then we're going to choose our image to be main menu, and we're going to move this up here. So that basically, that's the anchor, and it basically means this widget will always stay in that place if we resize. So we have the main menu button here. So what I need to do is change that to new game and move that up. And I will change the anchor in a second. So I'm just this, you can see on the left here on the hierarchy, we've got the canvas panel, and then we have the image. The canvas panel is 1920 1080. So we have the image and the button itself. So the image is anchored. We're just sorting out the button for new game. I'm happy with that. So I'm now going to anchor that. Okay, and then if I go on the graph, on new game, we basically want to say load level. So we remove from parent, and then load level, or load map. First person map. Right, so when we click new game, we remove this widget and we open the first person map. So on here, on the blueprint for the main menu, we want to do widget blueprint main menu, and then if we do play, right, we need to set input mode. Okay, so what we want to do for main menu, the graph for this widget, we want to basically replicate this. So we want to set input mode. So it's not going to be UI only, it's not going to be game and UI, it's going to be game only. Okay, we get a player controller, and then we want to set the mouse cursor to hide. Okay, so we're basically hiding the cursor, and we can just test that. So basically we're saying when we click new game, we remove that widget of the main menu, we open the first person map level, and we set the input mode to be the game only, and we hide the cursor. Alright, so I'm going to test that. So we click new game, and there we are, baby. We're back in action. I fixed it. Didn't take too long at all. I love it. Okay, so what is this one? The BP controls. Okay, so when we click the main menu on the controls, we want to remove that widget, and then we want to do widget main menu. Okay. And basically that is saying when we click the main menu, we get rid of the control widget and we replace it with the main menu widget. Alright, and we can just check everything's anchored correctly. So we have the main menu anchored, the button, we have the main picture anchored, and the control panel is obviously, well, sorry, the canvas panel's the canvas. Okay, so what I now need to do is just add one more button, and this is going to be controls, and we need to add a button for exit as well. So I'm just going to, what's going on there? Controls. Okay, so we just resize this. Oh, sorry, numpty. I'm not doing, this is for the controls. I do apologise. I've not done the settings yet, but that is on my list. Do not fear, guys. Do not fear. So I'm just gonna move that over there. You want to give a little bit of space, because when we hover over it, it does, we've set the hover so it slightly darkens, I think. Okay, so I'm happy with the position of that. I'm now going to anchor, I'm going to anchor that right there. Okay, so that button is anchored. Alright, so now what we do is we go to the graph, and then controls, hold on, controls, on clicked, There we go. Okay, and then if I go on to the graph for the controls, right, we basically just copy this. Alright, so we paste that, and what we're going to do, when we click controls, we're going to remove from the widget, and we're going to create the controls screen. Yeah, and that should function. So if I now test that, we have new game. If I click controls, brings up the controls, main menu, back and forth, guys. Yeah, nice and easy. We can click between. That's really good. That's all functioning. Have you ever looked at a word so much that it actually starts to not look like a real word? Like controls now is starting to, it's very strange how the mind does that. It's very, very strange. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's a bit freaky. Okay, so we have the controls, brings up the controls. We click main menu, brings us back. Click new game, brings us into the game. Okay. So now we need to add the exit button. So we're on, this is the main menu. So this one's working correctly. On event begin play for the main menu, we do that. So we set the game mode, and then this is the widget for the menu screen. So this is the blueprint of the level itself for the main menu level. So on a game start, we set the game mode. We basically just say user interaction only with the mouse, no moving the character around or anything. So I can close the main menu blueprint for the main menu level. Now in this one, we have that working correctly. I now need to, I think I can close the controls one as well. And then on the main menu, we need to basically, we need to copy the button, and we're going to call this exit. Okay, similar process. I like to adjust the X and the Y on the scale you see at the top right there, because when you try and click it like this, you actually end up grabbing the background, which is really annoying. So if you actually use the slider on the details panel and just get it roughly into position, and then when it's in there, you can then click the little white circles, and you don't have that whole hoo-ha. So that's the way I prefer to do it. Alright, so we've got a very small, very simple button hovering over the exit. Compile, save, go into the graph, and then we're going to click on exit on the variable, and then we scroll down and we say on clicked, and we just say exit game. Oh, quit game, sorry. Not quite game, quit game. That should be it. Test. Boom. It's that simple, guys. Controls. So new game. If we press pause, we can go back to the main menu. You see that? Press pause. Main menu. And then So that's all functioning now. If I just quickly, sorry, I just need to test it one more time. Controls is working. Click that, brings us back. Click exit, comes out of that. New game takes us into the game itself. We're able to move around. Press P, pause menu, resume, and then pause menu, main menu brings us back. We can just keep doing that. Look at the timer, so it's about to hit 5 seconds. Main menu and then new game, timer resets. Okay, that's all functioning. So I'm happy with that. I fixed my little hiccup, which was a little bit annoying, but not too much work to fix. So now we're going to open the first person map, and I'm just going to bring up the user interface HUD, and this one only has one button for the main menu. If I go on the graph, let's test that actually. Let's go test that one more time. Hold on. It's always good to play test, guys. Always good to do something and then test it's functioning correctly as intended. Alright, so I'm doing 2 tests here. I'm testing. We click main menu. Yeah, okay. And then one more test I want to do is I want to get the checkpoint and then I want to check that the button works. Main menu. Perfect. One more test is to do the checkpoint again. Die, load. So we get the checkpoint. Wolfie, come kill us. Load the checkpoint, and then we'll just die. It's just going to keep doing that, isn't it? Because I'm reloaded from the same spot. Okay, and then one more test is... Pretty sure I've already tested this. Awesome. And then if I just bring up that is check no. Yeah, load the main menu when clicked. Yeah, okay, that's all functioning. I've sorted that out. Now, one thing I needed to add in, guys. We've got a scroll over here. Okay, now the scroll is a key item. I might not actually do this now because basically I've got some text I need to do. I basically need to make a quick widget on here. I mean, to be fair, I could probably... Hold on. Why has that got... Let me just check. That's now got me worried. Hold on. That's now got me worried about the main menu. Oh good, it's not there. It was just the Photoshop. Okay. Sorry, I just had to test that. Okay, so Yeah, basically I need to do a widget for the scroll. So this will be something the player can interact with when they touch it. It will basically give them some information saying you need to find 10 logs. Because at the moment the player doesn't know what they need to do. They just, they need prompts. They need a tiny bit of information, a bit of spoon feeding. So at the player start location, we're going to have a little wooden sign. The player can interact with it, and it will tell them they need to find a hut. Then the player knows, okay, I've got to get a hut. They get to the hut, they can't open a door. I'm going to make a single text widget pop up just to say maybe I should look for a key. And then the player looks for a key, they find a key, they open a door, they they touch the scroll, and then I've already got a little bit of writing to put on that scroll. So I think I'll do that offline. You guys probably don't want to see me doing the Photoshop of that. It's fairly straightforward. I mean, we've basically got the scroll here. So what I would do is I would clear this out and just put in the text basically. And that's it. It's that simple. And you've seen me drawing the widgets. Really not too hard at all. So it's tip top basically. Now, what I wanted to do, if I just bring back the stream title. Oh yeah, so add in player information signs. You know what? I have put that as the title of the stream. Maybe I should do that. Okay. Let's just quickly do that then, guys. It's not going to take long. I don't know why I was saying about not doing that, but let's just do it. It won't take long. So what we need to do then is I need to hold on. If I go to if I just right, hold on. If I copy the main menu and label this as what am I going to label it as? Scroll. I'm going to call it scroll. I'm going to cut that and move that into the HUD because I mean it's not the HUD, but main menu. I don't want to have it in the main menu. I'm going to make a new folder and call it I'm going to call it UX. It's not. It's user interface in the sense that it's like a scroll. Yeah, I'm just going to call it I'm going to call it information. I'm going to paste that in there. We're going to import, and then that should show up. So information, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to open that. Okay, right, so I'm going to close the main menu one. Yes. Okay, so we can basically, I can turn off the main, and this is the scroll Photoshop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to retain the text for forward, and yeah. Oh, if I could have this as, if I have that as X, what would you have? Return? What would you label that as? I mean, you would have an X, wouldn't you? Normally it's like a little X or a little tick or... exit? I might just call it exit. Or return. Return. Or close, close. Okay. So now we can go up here. Actually, I'll keep the jump. We'll move the close up to the top. What am I doing? Right, okay, so now I just need to quickly type in my information. Right, so I'm going to make this box about that big. And we're going to right, so I'm just going to type in the player information. So to escape these lands, you must signal a fire atop the mountain peak. Fairy rings are scattered throughout the forest, and each ring holds a magic. Oh my god, I've got quite a bit of writing here. I'm going to make that bigger. To escape these lands, you must signal a fire atop the mountain peak. Fairy rings are scattered throughout the forest, and each ring holds a magical log. The white birch trees shall guide you to the rings, as their roots are bound by powerful magic. Obtain 10 of these logs to place in the brazier. How big is that? Okay, I think what I need to do here, I'm going to. Oh, there's only two more little sentences. I like that I've split it up so it's not a big chunk of text, because I'm looking at what I've written in Word and it is all just one paragraph, whereas breaking it up like this, it's easy for the player to read instead of it just being in one big chunk. I don't know what the majority of gamers are like, but sometimes if you're playing a game and it's quite heavy on the text and it's quests or just lots of words, sometimes you just skip it, and I'm guilty as charged for that. Most of the times I do read them, but when it's very text heavy, yeah, it's a bit much. So I'm going to lower this down to 8 points. And if we need to, I can make this larger. Alright, so to escape these lands, you must signal fire, la-di-da-di-da. Obtain 10 of these logs. Obtain 10 of these logs. Obtain 10 of these logs. To place and obtain 10 of these logs to place in the brazier. Take my flashlight and search the hut for some batteries. I don't need to add that in. Okay. To escape these lands, you must signal a fire. To escape these lands, you must signal a fire atop the mountain peak. Fairy rings are scattered throughout the forest, and each ring holds a magical log. The white birch... Oh, that needed to be a capital B. The white birch trees shall guide you to the rings. The white birch trees shall guide you to the rings, as their roots are bound by powerful magic. It is actually a fact. Mushrooms and trees have a symbiotic relationship, and the roots do intertwine under the surface. So, it's a little lesson, little fun fact of the day. As their roots are bound by powerful magic. Obtain 10 of these logs to place in the brazier. Take my flashlight and search the hut for some batteries. You shall need this for exploring. You shall need this for exploring a dark place that contains a fire source. I'm going to add 2 dots at the end, 3 dots at the end. So a little 3 dots is always a little bit mystery, a little bit sinister. You just don't know. Okay, so I'm actually quite happy with that size. I quite like that. If I just hide the extras. There we go. We've got a simple objective, haven't we? Obtain 10 logs right there. Standalone sentence. Take the flashlight. Look for some batteries. I think that's fairly self-explanatory, isn't it? Do I want to shrink the scroll? Is that too much of a gap? It feels like it might be. Yeah, it's going to bug me. Right, so we're going to press Control H, bring up the extras. And I'm just going to shift this up. I think that's a nice spot, isn't it? It's not too close. Would you say exit on a scroll? Normally it's an X. It is always normally an X. Like, I'm pretty sure it's an X. I want to put an X, but does that look silly? I feel that looks silly. Just an X is kind of like a bit. It's already on a parchment scroll. It's kind of like a treasure scroll. Okay. Right, so now what we need to do, we need to move that up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this. We're going to select the scroll, and we're literally 1 second, let me just save it. I'm going to disable the stroke effect. Okay. Oh. Oh. Why is it doing that then? That's gonna bug me, that is. Okay. I think I'm very happy with that. That didn't take long at all. I already had the writing down for that. So I'm going to align that center of the screen. So we're going to select the movement tool, click the folder, close that, and then we're going to save it. And then, oh no, I want to select the whole thing, thank you. Dude, come on. There we go. Right, so I just had it. That's on the middle line, so now okay, I think that's central. That looks pretty good to me. It looks equal sides, guys. We're going to save, and then I'm going to export as a ping pong, and we're going to call that where did I save that? Information, and this is going to be scroll. Okay, save that. Alright, so we've done the scroll. So now we go into here, we import, it's going to add in the texture, and there we have it, the scroll. So now what we need to do, guys, is we just create a simple widget. So what we could do, we could replicate one that we've already got to save the workload, and then we just swap out the image. So if we go on the HUD and if I copy, no, if we go if I go to the main menu and controls, if I just do Control C, Control V, copied, and we're going to call this widget blueprint scroll. Okay, so this one is still there, it's functioning. WBP controls, the widget blueprint for the controls, and it's got the main menu, so we're going to close that one and we go into our information. Okay, so what are you saying? Oh. Right, so we place this up here. So the canvas is 1920 1080. We're going to change our image to scroll, and you'll notice it's got this white outline. So what we need to do, this is a problem a lot of people get, where you get this horrible white line, and I basically played around with this myself and I've got the perfect settings to remove that. So what I like to do is I like to get up this texture, the one that's got the white line, and I go to a separate one that I've already sorted, for example this one. So I have two texture panels side by side. So at the top you can see here from texture group, so we're going to do from texture group. Next up is user interface 2D and the compression settings. User interface 2D, and then no lossy compression. And then we go down to texture, and you can click between the two and spot the difference. So it's basically default from, it's nearest on the filter, and watch what happens. It's gone, and it's that simple. Save, close that. Okay, so what we need to do, the canvas is fine, the image is pinned dead center. I'm going to call this close, and we're just going to move that across like that. And it's going to move that there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, and then compile, save, click on the graph, on clicked close, remove from parent. That's all we need to do. But what we need to do, we need to get up we need to set user interface only, I think. Alright, so we can look at a previous one we've done. Now, we're not going to pause the game. The game's still going to be... no, you don't want to pause the game. You want the clock to still be running. So you don't want to pause the game. I don't know how many... Actually, that's a good question. How many games where you read scrolls? So if you think of something like Skyrim, it's a good example. If you're reading something, is the background of the game paused while you're doing that? I've never really noticed, because in Skyrim you don't really... It's been a while since I played, but you don't obviously there's no timer in that game like my one where you've got a timer displayed. But yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to pause the game. Like, I think the game should still be running, but that is a very good question. How many other games are paused when players are reading notes and things like that? That's a very good question. Okay, right, so I'm not going to pause the game, but what I'm going to do... right, we need to get up the... I think it's the first person blueprint. Okay, so we set input mode UI only. So I'm going to copy that and paste that there. Oh, numpty. No, we're not. Sorry. No, we're not doing that. We're... Right. 1 second. Right. Right, so what we're doing here, we're saying when the player clicks the close button, we close the widget, we get rid of the widget, we then set the game, we give the player full control of the game as they had beforehand. Why have I got that again? Just do that. Sorry, I noticed I had that removed from parent twice. Okay, so when they click close, we set the game mode back to normal. We close the widget and we hide the mouse. Compile and save. Okay, fairly straightforward. So now what we need to do is we need to add a collision box. We basically need to make that an actor. Now I've got concerns that this Fantasy Village pack, no, this is going to work. Basically this asset pack down here, guys, the low poly nature one, has a problem with outlining the static meshes, which is quite frustrating. You can see I've got the highlighting function working really nicely on a number of items that are interactable, but for some reason the static meshes of a particular asset pack are just not playing ball. So this is going to work perfect. So I should be able to convert this to a I should be able to convert it. I don't think I've done this before. We want to convert it to a blueprint. Convert selection to blueprint class. Okay. BP scroll. Select the path. It's going to go in first person blueprints, please. Baby! And it's that simple. Love it. Okay, so now that we've got the scroll there, we're now going to double click on the blueprint for the scroll. This is really good, guys, because you're seeing how we're doing the widget interactions, creating the widgets. It's actually been really nice to show this because I'm almost at an hour and I've almost done this. So I've shown you how to do a little bit of Photoshop. It's very basic, but I've shown you how to design the image, import that into the Unreal Engine, and then adjust the settings on the texture so you don't get that horrible white outline. And we've gone through the widget creation process with buttons and the menus and the user interface. So now we're going to add a collision box, and we're going to have the outline feature. So I'm going to get the log pickup because I'm just going to copy that in a second. So first up, we're going to bring the BP scroll out. I like to do this when I can actually see it in the game like this. So basically the player, we want the collision box to basically just be hanging off the table, because we want the player to basically, we don't want them jumping on the table, we want them to essentially walk up to the table and then they'll be able to read the scroll. Okay, so on the components of the blueprint for the scroll, we're going to click at the top there and just click add, and I'm going to make this box collision. Okay, and then I'm going to select the box and I'm just going to rotate it on that. No, that one. Okay, and then the scale on the red, and then I'm going to move the, no, what are you doing? No. Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? I feel like the box needs to be yeah, that's good. I'm very happy with that. It sticks out, the player's going to touch it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so I can now save, compile and put this back. I'll dock that up the top. Now what we're going to do, this is very important, you click on the component, the box collision component over here, and you want to scroll down, guys, to the collision. You want to simulation generates hit events, and then on the collision presets you want to choose custom. You ignore everything but you tick the overlap on the pawn, compile and save. Okay, so now we're going to quickly add in, we'll delete that nonsense, we're going to copy the show outline because I love it. Okay, so all we need to do, we delete out these previous references and we drag in our static mesh, which is the scroll, and we plug that in. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hold on. What? Why would... I don't know why that was being a little bit weird. You did just see me do that. Anyway, compile, save, and test. There we have it, guys. Remember, the player can't see the collision box, but we, the developers, know that it's there. Okay, so we come up to the table. Oh, look, we can interact with the scroll, and you can see as we move out of the collision box, it unhighlights. Yeah. So that looks good to me. And if I turn it off, look at that. I love it. Okay, so now what we need to do is cast or create the widget. So this is the bit where we look at our previous thing. So this is where we want to go to this one, and it's here. So we want to draw a widget. So hold on. Right, yeah, we just create the widget, right? So on a scroll, right? Oh, we need to add the interface interact. So on the BP scroll, class settings. If anyone wants to know about this interface interact, I believe it is on one of my previous videos. It basically is a way that we specify the E button as a global thing. So when we interact with objects, we can just run this custom feature. So this basically means when we press E on an item, we can interact with it. Okay, so when we press E, we want to create widget. Widget scroll, add to viewport, and then we want to set input mode UI only. We're not pausing the game, guys, okay? Okay. So we're basically saying when we touch the scroll, we're going to bring up the scroll widget we made, add it to the screen, and we're going to only allow the player to basically use the mouse. They won't be able to move the character. Okay, so compile. Oh, you bugger. Sorry, I've got to tag that in there. There we go, save. Right, let's test it. I'm quite excited. Da, 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 da. Yes! Baby! Right, I want to play this full screen. Oh, it's so satisfying. Adding in little bits at a time, and why have I still got that gun in the game? My kids go for that every time. I need to get rid of that. Pick up the key. Open the door. Okay. Yeah, I like it. So you can see the timer's still going at the bottom there. And if I go to the scroll, you can see in the background, you see what I've done there? I've positioned myself so I can look at the wisp. You can see the wisp is moving in the background there. So to escape these lands, you can see we're clicking over the screen. We're not able to do anything. So to escape these lands, you must signal a fire atop the mountain peak. Fairy rings are scattered throughout the forest, and each ring holds a magical log. The white birch trees shall guide you to the rings. as their as their roots are bound by powerful magic. Obtain 10 of these logs to place them. Sorry, I've not had much sleep. Let me try it again. The white birch trees shall guide you to the rings, as their roots are bound by powerful magic. Obtain 10 of these logs to place in the brazier. Take my flashlight and search the hut for some batteries. You shall need this for exploring a dark place that contains a fire source. So that's a little bit of a mystery. So you like the player knows they've got to go somewhere dark where they're going to need a flashlight, and they need to look for a fire source in which to light the logs in the brazier. So all the instructions are there. I think that's fairly clear. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. And we click close. We return to the game. I'm so happy. That did not take long at all. That basically took an hour to do. No, actually, no, because sorry, tell a lie. At the start of the stream, I was fixing the HUD menu, the main menu, wasn't I? I think I did that on stream. So yeah, fairly straightforward to do. Adding an outline, putting in the widget, and I love it. I think that's brilliant. It's nice and clear. It's broken up into little sentences. It's not all one big block of text. You got the clear instruction at the bottom there. Obtain 10 logs. Get the flashlight and batteries. So the first 3 lines are information for the player. To escape, start a fire. Look for the fairy rings that have a log. Look for the white birch trees that will lead you to the fairy rings. I think that's literally all the information the player needs. So I think that's brilliant. Okay, now it's 1:40 in the morning. Am I going to do the high score? I don't know if I'm going to do the high score. I feel like that was quite good. Just for the stream, adding in that little bit of information there. I was going to do the same for a sign, because I'm basically going to have a sign at the player start area, which essentially it functions similar to the scroll. It will basically say to the player, be careful of the forests, and basically come and find my hut. Simple instruction. So you've seen me literally just make the widget blueprint. So it's that simple. I think I'm going to call the stream there. Keep it short and sweet. I will make the sign post off stream, because it's not going to take long at all. Exactly the same process. Put a sign up, a few black lines to represent text on it, and then just do that basically, and then that will be that. So I hope you found that useful. So today's stream is basically adding player information, dealing with the widgets and textures for the widgets, or the image which becomes a texture for the widget, and then setting the game modes. Also, I do believe at the start of the stream I showed you the functionality with the buttons for hopping between the different widget menu screens. Between the different menu screens via the widgets and buttons. So I think that's been quite a useful one. I think what I'll do, because I am going to be doing some dev tomorrow, I'll see if I can do the high score element tomorrow. It's just very late, and if I start doing it now, I don't know how long it will take. Essentially, the high score, we already have a functioning score and time. And we know that if we just quickly go into the blueprint here, we're basically saying, does a save game exist with that name? Yeah. So all I need to do is basically basically is create another variable, and we'll just give it would be a string, and would call it high score and best time, and we would basically have those as two additional save slots. Okay, and what we would do is we would set a default value in there which would reflect on the main menu screen, and then what else would happen? You'd have that shown on the main screen, and then it would basically be a matter of, at the end of the game, when the player reaches the end and lights the fire, it will display the time they took to beat the game, their score at the end of the game, and then adjacent to those values will be the best time and the best score. So if their value is greater than, or no, if it's less, if the score, right, so basically the time is going to have to be done, because obviously if you think of the quickest time, you basically want that to be the lower value, because the lesser the time, that means you've beaten it in a quicker time. Whereas with the score, it's the higher the number is the better values. So you would essentially say, if the player's score at the end of the game is higher than the default score, then set that as the value. So we're not going to be touching, we're not actually going to be erasing a second and third save file, because what we have here is this save slot name is essentially all tied into the player's save file. That's the only thing that gets played around with. So adding in two extra things and setting a default string, like you can see here, I've got save game file, save slot name. Yeah, so it's actually, sorry, tell a lie. We'd need to do two strings here. Yeah, you would. You need to have two strings here for God. Sorry. You need to have two strings on here for the extra save file, one being the high score and one being the best time. And then you would name that appropriately at the bottom value there, and then you would create two additional variables, which would be the integer for the score, the best score, and a float for the quickest time, and then you would set those values. Yeah, I know how to do it. It doesn't sound as complicated. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but I will do this tomorrow first thing, because I'm really excited to get this done. It's a feature that's going to get me it's top marks, that one. Actually, I've only got two more things to do, and then I've got the top marks for this whole project. All I've got to do left to do, sorry, I'm getting my words jumbled, is an options screen and a start or end screen improvement, and that end screen improvement displays the best time recorded to complete the game, or the last time recorded. And then, yeah, guys, I'm literally pretty much done with this project. this is so amazing. I've loved every single minute of this dev. It's had its frustrating moments when there's been problems, but other than that, it's been great. I am really waffling. I do apologise, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I'm going to call it there, and I will be back tomorrow, Friday, in the morning, hopefully, if I'm not to bed too late. And we will tackle the high score and the best time, and I'll do the widget as well. I'll design the widget in Photoshop so you guys can see how I'm laying it out, and we will go from there. Thanks for watching. Give us a follow on Twitch if you enjoyed it and found it useful, or if you want to keep up to date with any future streams, because I'm doing a lot of game dev streaming at the moment. You can also subscribe on YouTube. I've got the panel below for my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next stream. Ciao, ciao for now.